The irony is that she's happy to financially support his business, but she's refusing to support my education. That broke something inside me. I honestly feel like I've lost both of my parents. My dad died 2 years ago. I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. This is honestly crazy. Wow. And now it feels like I've lost my mum as well. Sometimes I wonder if she's being manipulated. She is clearly being manipulated. That's something that I can comment on as a psychologist. Clearly. Sometimes I wonder if she's simply choosing him over me. Well, right now, yes, if she's not standing up for you, she's clearly on his side. If she's financially supporting him, using the inheritance that your father has left for both of you, I hope she's not using your half, by the way. I hope she hasn't used it up yet. And I hope she never attempts to. But she didn't ask you for permission to bring him into the house. She didn't consider your needs. I get it. When women are vulnerable, things can happen. Look, I get that. But this is too far. This is too far. This isn't just being vulnerable. She's making decisions. She's making rash financial decisions, investing your inheritance into a stranger's business. And I keep calling him a stranger because, once again, she doesn't know him well. Not enough time has passed to be making such decisions. This is too far and it's happening too quickly. This is betrayal. Dear women who do this, how can you betray your own kids? Once again, it's not even about how I'm making financial decisions or whether to pay for your education or not. You are legally entitled to your inheritance that you can use to cover the fees for your PhD, which you should. So what, you're going to give up on your education now because of a stranger that's influencing your mother? This is insane. I don't know which hurts more. This isn't really about the money anymore. Well, to be honest, it kind of should be, because this is your future and both of your parents have worked really hard for this. So it kind of should be. It should be about the money as well, my love. People always assume inheritance disputes are about greed. For me, it's about principle. Look, I get it. To me, you sound very upright and honest and trustworthy and candid. I get that. But it should be about both money and principle. But also, you know what I just thought about? I instantly thought that you have to protect this inheritance, not just for you. You also have to protect it for your mother, because if she wastes all of it on this man, and if he scams both of you, then she will be left with nothing as well. There might be a day when they break up, she's left with nothing. If you have at least your half, then you will have something to sustain yourself. To be honest, not to be harsh, but you're not really entitled to sustain her, because it's her conscious choice to squander that half that she received from your father's inheritance. Now, girl, you need to protect your inheritance. You need to protect your financial stability, but also you need to do it for her as well, because she's going to wake up one day from this whole nightmare of manipulative control that she's clearly under, and she'll be left with nothing, and then she'll run to you for help, probably asking for forgiveness, and then it will be up to you to decide whether you'd like to forgive her or not. My dad spent his entire life building something for his family. I can't bear the thought of another man walking into our lives after my father's death and benefiting from everything my parents sacrificed to build. See where you're coming from. This sounds very painful. I'm sure it is. I know that sounds bitter, but that's genuinely how I feel. Lately, I've started wondering whether I should move out. This is what I mean. He's a brilliant manipulator. He's an abuser. Now you're having thoughts about moving out of your own house that your parents built, that you inherited from your own father. He's a pest. I've been seeing a man for a few weeks, and after I told him everything that's been happening, he offered me to move in with him. No, do not do this. Do not do this. Ladies, first of all, don't repeat your mother's example. Do not do this. Do not move in with men that you've only known for a few weeks. That's not enough time. More time needs to pass. More boxes need to be ticked. You don't know this person. He might be using your vulnerable situation right now for his own benefit. Whether it's sexual benefit, also financial benefit, you never know. Or to lure you into a codependent relationship or a toxic relationship. You don't know him. I mean, I get it. Maybe he's trying to help, but don't take up an offer. It's not the time to do that yet. You don't know each other well enough for that yet. Do you know what most of my clients that ended up in abusive relationships had in common? It's a few factors. Number one, they rushed with the decision making at the beginning of their relationship. Number two, they moved in together too quickly, started families, married, started civil partnerships, started investing together, building portfolios together with this person, or becoming financially dependent on this person, letting them control all the decision making in their house or in their life, be it with regards to financial decisions or any kinds of decisions, investing and things like that. Number 4, they didn't check those men well enough. Some of them literally told me I was too gullible. I trusted too quickly. You need to be running your checks, ladies. Don't just trust everything that men tell you. You have to check. You have to double check, because most of the time, words and actions don't really match up. And number 6, I believe, they hoped for the best. You know, they were too positive. This is why, as a psychologist, I really dislike using these positive, negative words. I like facts. I like objective reality. We have a reality. We have pure facts. We have evidence that we're collecting, right? We don't live in illusions. We're not living in dreams. We make conclusions based on evidence. So if the facts tell me that you've only known this person for a few weeks, it's too early. He might be using this situation that's going on in your house to his own benefit. Too early to be doing that. Too early to be doing that. Part of me wants to escape this house immediately, but another part of me worries that I'd simply be running from one emotionally difficult situation into another. Exactly, your intuition is telling you the truth. This is what I mean. I've never met this person that you're seeing right now, but if your intuition is literally telling you that, if you're having second thoughts, then listen to that, please. Also, it's not right for you to be just escaping your house and jumping into a relationship just to save yourself from this nightmare that's happening in your home. It's just not right. You told me you're focused on principles, so out of principle, it's just not right, you know? I don't know whether I'm thinking clearly anymore, so I wanted to ask you, how do I protect my mental health while living in this environment? Okay, that's question number 1. How do I stop feeling so angry at my mum? Well, to be honest, that'll be a difficult one, because you've literally got a person that is manipulating your mother every single day, and that's provoking you every single day on your territory in the house that your father had built. So that is a very difficult one. Should I forgive her? Should I distance myself from her completely? Should I speak to a solicitor about the inheritance my dad left me? Definitely yes. Massive yes. And you should do that today. Okay, finally the last one. And do you think moving in with someone I've only known a few weeks would be a terrible idea, even if it means escaping all of this? You told me in the question, someone I've only known for a few weeks. You told me this yourself, darling. You've said it yourself. No, that's a clear no. No, don't do this. I feel trapped. I don't recognize my own home anymore, and I don't recognize my mum anymore. Thank you for reading this. This is a very difficult case study. This is one of the most difficult case studies I've ever read in my life, if I'm being honest. First of all, before I answer these, I want to say you need to find a way to regulate your nervous system, because your nervous system is being provoked by this dude daily. If you stay there, and if he continues living there, he's going to try to shatter your nervous system. He's going to try to manipulate your mother. He's going to try to manipulate you. He's going to try to shatter your nervous system. I really don't like that you're starting to develop an eating disorder. This is super concerning. So you technically have a few options. Number 1, you continue living there, but you speak to your mother and you're very strict with her, and you tell her, look, this is also my home. This is my father's legacy that I don't want to be lost and destroyed. I'm also entitled to be making decisions around what's happening in this house. You never asked me whether I'd be okay with this person moving in. You've clearly betrayed me. You're clearly under the influence. You're being manipulated by this person. And I'm deeply concerned that you're squandering the inheritance. So I would start with the following. Before you speak to your mum, speak to the lawyer and know your options. Speak to a solicitor. Find out the ways in which you can protect your mother's and your inheritance. But right now, please focus on yours, because she's clearly under the influence. So have a consultation with your solicitor. Make sure that you have your inheritance funds on your bank account, because, well, you need to pay for your PhD and also sustain yourself. Number 3, only then would I speak to your mother. So before you speak to her, because she's clearly under the influence, come prepared before you start having a conversation with her. So you need to be prepared and be very, very strict with her. she's acting like the victim, but you also lost your father. This is not an excuse to be letting some douchebag treat your daughter this way. She's going to wake up one day and she's going to regret this, hopefully. Tell her that this is having an impact on your mental health, and tell her that you're uncomfortable with his presence, with his comments, with the fact that she's not standing up for you. See what she says. If she says something in the lines of, don't dare speak about him this way, or he's right and you're wrong, or I will decide what to do with the money, and I'm the adult in the house and all the inheritance is mine, then I would start speaking differently, and I would tell her, look, I'm going to get my inheritance. I'm going to get my half because I need to pay for my PhD. And if I don't do that, we will literally be left with nothing for the future. So make sure that you stand up for yourself. Make sure that you and the lawyer figure out what to do in this situation and how you can protect yourself and how you can possibly protect her in the future. Because it sounds like she's clearly being scammed, and it's getting worse and worse day by day. And also definitely ask her what funds she's using to be investing into his business and what funds she's using to cover the cost for his daily essentials. Because once again, if she's using your half, then look, I'm not suggesting ideas, but that would be a case for court. And I'm not suggesting you should take your mother to court, but something needs to be done about this because he clearly has so much power over her, and this is unacceptable. So definitely speak to a solicitor. Should I distance myself completely? Well, you have a choice here. But please definitely don't move into this other man's house, because that is not safe and it's way too early to be doing that. And entering relationships under pressure to start a relationship with a person out of a need instead of out of a conscious choice is not right. If you want to start a relationship, you should be doing that based on a conscious choice that you've made. It should be a choice to allow this person into your life, to start building something together. It shouldn't be a need. If you enter a relationship with him because you need something from him, or because you need to stay at his place, or because he's going to help you financially, you're risking falling into a financial trap. So please don't do that. And also, it also wouldn't be fair on him, because he should be chosen, just like I said, based on your conscious choice, because you like him enough, because both of you live in alignment with your values match, and so much more, mutual attraction and other factors. It shouldn't be because you just need somewhere to live. If you feel uncomfortable staying at your place, which you clearly are, you could temporarily, alternatively, stay with your friends, or maybe you said you have an uncle and cousins, maybe with them. But the key word here is temporarily. And your stepdad needs to understand that. He needs to know that this is temporary. And maybe don't even tell him that you're staying with them because of his influence. Maybe just say, oh, you're visiting, or you're going for your PhD to a different town, or you're going to some camp or something, or you're just going on a trip somewhere. But don't say, oh, because you forced me out of my own house, because that way he'll feel even more powerful. And maybe don't even tell them anything. Just move out, and you don't owe them an explanation. Just make sure that he knows that this is not forever. Don't take all of your stuff. Maybe take a little bit, because otherwise he'll feel like he won and that it's his victory, and that's not acceptable. With regards to your mother, should I forgive her? Okay, has she asked you for your forgiveness? Did she say sorry for anything? Because before you ask a question like that, you need to double check that she wants your forgiveness. If she never asked you for forgiveness, if she doesn't feel that she's at fault, and it sounds that she doesn't feel like she's at fault, I'm not really sure that it's the right time to be asking this question. So generally, when it comes to forgiving your own parents, what I usually say is, don't badmouth about your parents ever, no matter what they've done. Don't badmouth about them to other people. And I don't know about my audience, but I personally find it a red flag when someone starts badmouthing about their parents to me. No matter what happened, you don't ever say bad things about your parents in front of other people. You don't take the trash out of the house. That's just my opinion. But once again, everyone's different. To me, that's a red flag. And I also know a lot of people that also see that the same way. Also treat that as a red flag. To me, that's a huge red flag. Let me talk about forgiveness at the very end. I also had another thought. With regards to distancing yourself, it's very difficult here because she's clearly under the influence. So I'm not sure how well she will work with any information that you provide to her. And if you've already had conversations with her before saying, look, this is uncomfortable for me, I'm not happy with this, and if she didn't really stand up for you, I'm not sure how effective this communication will be now. But if you just abandon her completely, your stepfather will clearly use that for his own benefit. So his new narrative will be, your daughter doesn't care about you, your daughter hates you, or your daughter hates our union or doesn't support our union. And that will actually backfire for a number of reasons. But also, abandoning your mother when she's under the influence of this person. Look, I don't mean to say that she needs to be saved, but she's clearly kind of a victim here as well. Look, I don't want to say that she needs to be saved. She needs to save herself. She's a grown woman, but she fell into a trap here. She's clearly under the influence. She's been manipulated. She's being abused as well. And the relationship is codependent. And it's very difficult to break a codependent relationship. She needs to do that herself. You won't be able to do that for her. Look, it's up to you to decide. You have to focus on your mental health and prioritize your mental health. And I'm just worried that if you stay in this house for much longer, you will develop a full-on eating disorder. And that might take years to recover from, speaking from experience, which I obviously wouldn't wish upon anyone. And if you feel like your mental health is already spiraling, that's not a good sign. So some of the alternatives here, either go to your other family members and temporarily stay with them, but make sure that your stepfather doesn't know that you're leaving, that you've decided to leave for a long time, or that you've decided to just flee your home because of his influence. Please make sure that you pay for your PhD. Speak to a solicitor, because you should never sacrifice your education. And maybe there are government funds that are being offered. Maybe there are scholarships, or maybe there's some sort of funding that can cover that for you, at least for the first trimester, for the first year. If you really, really have no other choice, if you can't stay with your relatives, if you really can't stay with friends temporarily, maybe find a job that provides accommodation, but be very, very careful. In my opinion, this is still better than moving in with a random person that you've only known for a few weeks. But at the same time, obviously it's up to you to decide, but I just think that your family environment right now is super toxic in your own home. And answering your question about how do I stop feeling so angry at my mum? What might help you reduce this emotion is the realization that, and once again, I'm not excusing her behavior is unacceptable as well. Her actions are unacceptable. She should have stood up for you. But what I think is happening there is she is trying to compensate for the deficit that was created in her life after your father's death. So this rebound relationship that's clearly codependent is her way to deal with the trauma of bereavement. And once again, it's not an excuse to be doing this. It seems to me that she went through a lot of trauma as she witnessed, but so did you, as she witnessed her husband slowly pass away from a long-term illness, as his health worsened and deteriorated every single day. So that definitely left its mark. But she probably felt very lonely after his death. And now she's so scared of losing this guy because she doesn't want to go back to that feeling of loneliness. So she's willing to pay for everything for him. She's willing to sacrifice your relationship so that she doesn't have to face this loneliness again. That's just my theory. So if you take out a sheet of paper and if you just write down, if you put in the center, why is mom acting this way? And if you draw a circle around it, and then if you just do a little mind map of all the reasons, and you and I can do this together in a session if you want. We can have a one-to-one call while I break that down for you. I obviously need more detail, but this is the first draft of my theory / case formulation for your mum, but I definitely need more information with regards to her case to make any more assumptions. So if you just take out a sheet of paper and you do that, and then you do this mind map, maybe it will help you feel better. Your anger is caused by the injustice of this situation, because it's not fair. Because you are right, your father worked for this, your father left an inheritance, your parents have built this place together. Now you have a random person living in your house who's now trying to dictate his rules, who's misbehaving, who is disrespecting you, who is provoking conflict, who's created a toxic situation in your family, and who's disrupting your family system. Also, your intuition knows everything already. Please speak to a solicitor. Your feeling of anger is fully valid, by the way. You're allowed to feel this way. You're feeling this way for many reasons. You lost your father. It's only been 2 years. You're still dealing with that as well. And I'm just worried that if all of this adds up, if you continue living in this environment, you might develop an eating disorder. You have a lot of factors at play here. You've got so many triggers to evoke the development of this eating disorder. I hope you don't develop one, but please, it might also be helpful to take out another sheet of paper and write down all the things that you are doing right now to protect your mental health, to look after yourself. This is super, super stressful, and it eats away your energy and resources, by the way. I'm not talking about money right now, by the way. I'm now talking about your energy. All that space in your mind is taken up by this family situation. You're 23, you're supposed to be living your life. If you got in to do your PhD, you have to make sure that you get that PhD. And know how difficult it is to get into a PhD course. They're super competitive. So if you got in, you need to protect your inheritance, and you need to make sure that that money is not being used on this stranger. So that's that. I have so much more that I'd like to say, but this is a brief summary. I would love to add more detail. If you'd like to have a call with me to go through your case in more detail, feel free to book a consultation with me on Kajabi. Please keep me up to date. I hope we will exchange some emails in the future, and I hope we continue the communication. But this is honestly a very difficult case, and I hope you manage to resolve all of this. And with regards to forgiveness and forgiving your parents, my dear viewers, before you even think about that, the person in question needs to ask for your forgiveness. You need to feel that they're sorry. And it shouldn't just be words. They need to show that they're willing to listen. They're willing to consider your part. They're willing to consider your perspective and your side of the story. And it sounds like that's completely blocked out on your mother's side right now. So it's too early to be talking about that, I think. But what could help you in the future with this is realizing she just fell for this trap. So she's kind of a victim herself. Obviously it's terrible that she had to watch her husband pass away slowly day by day. And it sounds like she's not even aware that she's being manipulated right now. I think she definitely needs a session with a therapist and a psychologist. But before any professional can step in, and before she engages in a conversation with a third party that will actually be useful, she needs to show initiative as well. She needs to be willing to engage in that conversation in order for it to be useful. If she just blocks out any emotion, if she doesn't consider the alternative viewpoint, if she doesn't try to look at things from a different angle, it will be completely useless and just make her angry. I hope she doesn't give you any ultimatums yet, and I hope it never gets to the point where he literally tells her it's either me or your daughter. It might reach that point when he literally gives her ultimatums, and if he gets control over both of your finances, that's super concerning. So please take action right now. Think of the actions that you can take as soon as possible. Definitely have a consultation with a solicitor, but don't just leave it as it is, because it's going to get even worse. I know people like this. Men like this never change. And it sounds to me that he clearly has a plan in mind already of what he's going to do. And I'm worried that he will step up his game, and his next actions won't just be comments about you or bad-mouthing you behind your back. It will be ultimatums. They'll be very harsh. And maybe he will essentially tell her to choose. And what happens if she doesn't choose you? Will you have to take your mother to court? Will you be kicked out of your own home that your father built as well? Who knows? So please take action now. And also make sure that you have resources in place and plans in place to support your mental health. Otherwise, you're going to reach burnout. This is too much stress. Another reason for why I think it would be a great reason for you to leave this family environment temporarily is to protect your mental health and to protect the resources that you have. Because if you reach burnout, you won't be able to sustain yourself. You won't be able to resolve any problems. You won't be able to think clearly and take action that might have to be taken urgently, or put preventative measures in place. So, this is just my advice. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and Ellie, we will continue this conversation. If anyone who's watching this video would like to have a consultation with me, if you'd like me to go through your case, please follow the link under this video to book a one-to-one session with me on Kajabi. Thank you so much. I will see you in my next video. Ellie, I hope this video helped.